signatures for malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance in office. And again, with this fantastic leverage of only 100 signatures, we could cause the trial. So that's exactly what I did. And it worked great. It was really miraculous in the effect that it had, because with relatively little effort and relatively little money, I was able to literally stop the funding on the county level for the Green Harvest Marijuana Eradication Program for 1 fiscal year.
And can you tell people what the Green Harvest Eradication Program, I mean, this is a federal program?
It's federal money, and it's approved by the county level. What happens is county police reach out to the federal government and the DEA and other agencies to fund local operations, and they get a lot of support from the federal government to do so. County people here really don't have the will, the desire, or the money to fund such programs. It's not all that popular on the Big Island, but it is popular in the federal war against marijuana. So they get a lot of financial support when they ask for it from the federal government. Dollars are found. So the Green Harvest Eradication Program has been happening for about 30 years here on the Big Island and elsewhere throughout Hawaii, because of the increase in planting. I believe it started back in the 70s when patches of Pakalolo cannabis plants would be found within the large patches of sugarcane land here. And large landowners, plantation owners, called the police to rent helicopters and fly in and take a look. And sure enough, they found massive amounts of cultivation happening. So the program has gone on for about 30 years. It has expanded greatly to the point where it's included many different agencies, federal, state, and local agencies and police departments. And it's gotten so invasive. It's such a terroristic program now that poison is sprayed by helicopters, aerially sprayed on people's gardens and homes and pets and their children's playthings, and it's terrorized animals and family members, and it's a very invasive, damaging program. It's even more than psychological warfare. It's actually punishment without a trial and without a probable cause, because of the rotor slap of a low-flying helicopter pushes the cushion of air, and air is a fluid that pushes it down into human bodies and that of animals and pets and plants and everything else, and causes damage.
Do you feel, you can remember before and after this eradication program came in, did you see a difference in the quality of life here in Hawaii?
I've been in the Hawaiian Islands for 17 years, so I arrived just when the eradication program was going exponential, meaning the Berlin Wall had just gone down in Europe, and the Pentagon was looking for a new mission, and the war on marijuana and the war on drugs was the mission that they chose first, and the Big Island was a testing ground for that program. I remember well how happy and how well cared for people were here on the Big Island in the mid-1980s. There was a social safety net for everybody, and there was a major liquidity of the economy. There's a lot of cash in the economy here because people grew wealth from the soil the old-fashioned way. Put a seed in the ground and tend it and get a beautiful product that's got a high market value and a large demand almost any place on earth for the Hawaiian cannabis. And yes, there used to be so much fun in the parks here and in the culture at large. A lot of music, a lot of aloha, a lot of cannabis tourists. Life was very good in those days. The state of Hawaii was a budget surplus state. There was a great social safety net, and there were very happy times. Then the marijuana eradication program, or Green Harvest, went exponential, and by that I mean they started using spray poison from helicopters instead of manual eradication from helicopters, and instead of maybe getting 30,000 plants per week at the height of harvest season, they got 300,000 plants per week. And it really racked up an enormous count of plants eradicated, people arrested, and damage done to the community, to the point that here in the year 2003, this is January year 2003, Hawaii is in a budget deficit. The negative social indicators are huge. People watching this might think of Hawaii as a land of aloha and hula girls and palm trees and everything is like paradise out here. Nature is beautiful here, and that's true, and fairly constant, fortunately, as a beautiful influence on us. And the aloha spirit is still here. However, the citizens have been damaged to the point that we have massive amounts of poverty. Unfortunately, this island, the Big Island, Hawaii Island, is now the #1 place in the United States for the ice or methamphetamine.
That's kind of filled the
epidemic.
void, so to speak, for where people were using cannabis.
People were used to
It's
smoking.
now not available, and
As much, I would say about 90% of the cannabis has really been wiped out, and about 10 to 20% remains at this point. And people were used to smoking cannabis at their pleasure and leisure. And when that was removed from the marketplace and another smokable form of ice or highly refined crystal methamphetamine came along, unfortunately, too many people chose to switch and fill their Friday nights with ice smoking instead of cannabis smoking, and it's caused horrific damage here. It's been a great tragedy to the people and the culture of Hawaii.
and this eradication program that you were able to shut down, so to speak. I mean, you literally stopped the eradication program.
I turned off the money. You know, they say follow the money in a mystery, and I remember how the Vietnam War was shut off. As much as people protested in this way and that way, it was actually shut off when the money was shut off, shortly thereafter. And so I went after the money funding, and again at the county level, because that's the level of government closest to the people. It's the easiest to affect, and we had this brilliant clause in our county charter that was called impeachment. And I wrote an impeachment lawsuit. I dragged forced the mayor and 6 county council members, the majority of our county council, into circuit court. And a beautiful thing happened, kind of an angelic gift from God. Component to the lawsuit came to light, and that was that the defendants, the mayor and the councilman, in any other lawsuit, they would get a free ride and get their legal bills paid for by the corp counsel. However, in an impeachment lawsuit, they have to pay their own legal bills. And when these people started reaching for their wallets and defend themselves against my lawsuit, they really started squirming and squawking here, and tried to get impeachment insurance, actually. It was really kind of a funny exercise watching them go through their contortions to actually finally find out that no, there wasn't such a thing as impeachment insurance, especially after they were impeached. So what happened, instead of facing me in court for a second appearance, the county council decided to send the uncashed DEA grant money, federal grant money of $265,000 back to Washington, D.C. and let it go to another jurisdiction. And we had a beautiful, quiet harvest season here. This was in the autumn of year 2000. And it was a great victory for cannabis activists.
Is there any, is this unprecedented?
As far as I know, I don't know of any other jurisdiction where the DEA funding has been stopped by local, advocacy and a lawsuit. I've never heard of it happening. If it has,
I never have.
And my feeling is that this is a template for other jurisdictions. Any other place in the United States where there's been a marijuana eradication program, there must be a check and balance in an open society. And why isn't there the corresponding check and balance for the marijuana eradication program? Well, fortunately, our county charter built it in with what they call a mandatory program review. But this could be purchased with a grant or done by a business school or interested citizens groups. And I think it should be done in every jurisdiction where there's been marijuana eradication program, I'm sure, I'm absolutely convinced that people will